Welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. I'm your host, Braden, here with my co-host, Brundi. And Brundi, what a absolute barn burner of a game 3 that we had. Boring series, my ass. Holy shit. This is immediately becoming an all-timer. And unfortunately, I was not able to watch the entire game. I was out golfing with my wife. I caught some of the game later. I caught a bunch of the highlights. Probably going to have to, the amount I'm hearing of this game, I feel like watching every highlight I can find won't do it justice. I feel like I have to go back and just straight up watch the whole game over. But yeah,
definitely do.
A 4-goal lead, a natural hat trick by the funniest player, Mitch Marner, to get that. 2 called back goals. A penalty shot from Mitch Marner after he had the hat trick. 2 own goals by the end of the game. A 4-goal comeback, including 3 goals in, 39 seconds, which is now NHL record for, is that playoffs or Stanley Cup Finals? I think it's Stanley Cup Finals.
I think it's Stanley Cup Final, yeah.
Beating the record that was set by the Canadians in the 50s, which I think was 55 seconds or something, 53. It was a 20% increase on how quickly they scored over the record that stood for 70 years. And then the game win, or the tying goal with 1:50 left or so. Oh my God. Absolute cinema. Absolute incredible hockey to watch. I'm telling you, if you're not watching this series yet, you got to be watching this series. It's been so good. There's a lot of stats we could talk about. There's tons of things we can go over with this game right out the gate. But one thing I want to hit you with first, because I thought this shot seemed out of character, and it turns out it was. Mitch Marner's 3rd goal. So his 3rd goal in 6-ish minutes for his natural hat trick. Just gets the puck loose, comes down the right wing, and just unleashes a clap bomb. The least Mitch Marner goal he's ever scored. And that goal was 91.44 miles per hour. Brundi, how long do you think it's been since Mitch Marner took a shot that hard?
I'm going to say
playoffs,
never.
Regular season.
I'm going to say never.
He has taken a shot that hard. 91.5 miles per hour isn't crazy fast for
not
the
out of this world,
but
Marner's not be one of those.
Marner's not a booming defenseman. He's not a Shea Weber, right? That's his hardest single shot since 2023.
Wow.
3 years. And he just coming down on a breakaway just unleashed it. That is so ridiculous that he just took destiny by the balls and just ripped it far side with a bomb like that. Is so crazy. I believe it was also the hardest shot that resulted in a goal by a forward in these playoffs. I think it was 3rd overall. I think some defensemen have had some laser beams, but holy crap. Legacy game for Mitch Marner. Honestly, an all-timer game. If Carolina wins this game, it might literally be the best game. It has an argument. Stanley Cup Final, a 4-goal comeback, all the stuff going on, I guess you could argue there's other ones with more historical significance, but just for the cinema and the game itself, it's got to be up there regardless. But I think it would be a lock for a top 3 game all time if Carolina completed the comeback. Where do we want to start with this?
Yeah. Well, so just to keep, you're already talking about Marner, so I think we'll stick on him for a second and then jump into the, game 3 a bit more.
Right.
So you proposed a question before the Stanley Cup Final that if Carolina wins the Cup, is there a world in which Mitch Marner wins the Conn Smythe. And I said no pretty quickly, but then I did say like a 99% chance he doesn't. We're getting into this new kind of wave of the NHL, and we're starting to see new precedents set. We saw McDavid win the Conn Smythe on the losing team, right? And so it's not like that's
Which
kind
he
of the level you
deserved.
got
I
to
think he
be
had
at.
44
Absolutely.
points.
Absolutely, and that's the level you
Ridiculous
got to be
numbers.
at. We saw Connor Hellebuck win the Hart last year as a goalie. That's not what the precedent is set in this new NHL for a goalie to win the Conn Smythe. And the third one, because everything else is usually pretty common, but there's always kind of three kind of outliers in my opinion with awards, and that is, being on the losing team and winning the Conn Smythe, goalie winning the Hart, and then a goalie winning the Calder. And we almost kind of saw it with Dustin Wolf. But again, even in this new NHL, we've yet to see that of when a goalie's going to win the Calder and what the precedent is. Like, what numbers do you need to get to for that?
That's
With Mitch
interesting.
Marner,
The Calder's your third one. I love that.
I think so, yeah. I think because again, it's one of those ones you never really see happen. And nowadays it feels like we might never, see that again with the way the goalies are developed and brought up. So
I have another one that I was thinking of that is not an award. It's not on the same vein, but it's something that I genuinely don't know if we'll ever see again, and I really hope we do. Is a goalie going first overall in the draft? We haven't seen it since
we
Marc-Andre
talked
Fleury in
about that.
03.
I think those days are done.
Unless a true prodigy goalie comes up that's like visibly like an all-timer before he's 18, which just like doesn't really happen with goalies. I
have a hard
it would have to
time.
be an open and shut case for GMs to do that, and it would probably have to be a weaker forward and defense draft, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like there can't
a lot
be
of
any
things
of
would
those
have to
great players.
play into it. But Mitch Marner, I mean, I think we're starting to get into that territory now. Like again, I don't think it's for sure, but if Carolina wins the cup, I mean, not only has Marner been great throughout the playoffs and in this cup final, who do you pick from Carolina even right now? Like
now,
there's not a clear like it's. I think it's Taylor Hall.
Not
and
clear. I think it's Taylor Hall.
That's
so far.
That's about it. Like Freddie Anderson was great going into the cup final, but has really not been great at all in the finals here. To the point where we'll talk about it a little bit more, but he might not even be the starter tonight for Game 4. And
I don't think he should
not
be,
only
just because of how good Vasy was in relief.
And not only has Mitch Marner been great, but you look at Game 3 and you're talking about his third goal and how incredible it was. It also set a new NHL record for fastest hat trick in the Stanley Cup final at, I believe it was 6 minutes and 10 seconds. And then,
like we all predicted,
also
man,
on that,
we all knew this would happen 300 days ago. As
soon
as he was out of Toronto, we were like, he's going to win a Conn Smythe. We were all saying it.
So that's the first record from that goal. The second one, which I think is the more impressive one, he is now the first player since 1919 to record 4 points in a single period in the Stanley Cup final.
And I believe those two players are the only two to ever do it. And I mean, I'll just say it. Mitch Marner is the only one to ever do it. Not the game in 1919 was not hardly resembles hockey at this point. I don't even know if they played with goalies. I genuinely don't.
It was way different.
So different.
Way different back then. So yeah, we're getting into that territory now where absolutely, if Carolina wins the cup, can easily make the case that Marner should still win despite not winning the cup.
And you're starting to hear more people talk about it. Like people are starting to say it. He's got 19 games played, 10 goals, 28 points. 28 points, that's a lot of points.
The only other player you can make an argument for
is at that point yet.
Is Howden, I think.
I get why. I don't think Brett Howden.
No, but I don't think Howden should, but they proved last year by giving it to Sam Bennett that those guys that aren't playing the top line minutes and are kind of playing the more grindy role but going out there and scoring big goals, Again, I don't think Howden should, but they proved that it's valuable when giving it to Bennett last year.
Oh, 100%. I'm just saying, like, he has that Carter Hart effect of, I think because of the controversy, they won't want to. There'll be enough people not wanting to give him votes that he just won't have the overwhelming stats to overcome that on top of
I don't think it'll
guys like
matter
Marner.
with Howden. The Hart one, definitely I can see that effect of some people. With Howden, I don't think that'll sway it enough, in my opinion. Maybe
I
for a
don't think
couple
it'll
people, but I
sway it
don't think to
much,
the
but I think
degree
he's
that it.
already an underdog compared to Marner. Like, I think
Mhm.
on top of that,
Again,
it
like
makes it
Marner's
very difficult.
Marner's the clear fate, but I'm saying the only other player that I think they would even go with is Howden. Because you're
That's
definitely
fair.
not picking Eichel over Marner. You're not picking Hart. Like it's.
I've heard a couple
It's
people they're still holding strong on the idea that Eichel's been the best player on Vegas in these entire
yeah.
playoffs. I'm not going to pretend like I've watched every Vegas game. I don't know. Maybe he's been ridiculous defensively. But
It's still Marner, and
it has to be Marner's to lose. And
yeah.
I don't think Marner's been good enough yet that he should be getting it if Carolina wins, personally.
We're starting to have that conversation. We're starting to
But
get in that
but it's
territory of maybe.
if he
But even
keeps,
then,
if he puts up another couple goals, if he has some timely points down the stretch,
mhm.
you know, that even if Carolina wins, that'll bring him, he's at 28 points now. If he gets up to 34, 35, okay, well, if there's not a huge favorite on Carolina, maybe that splits the votes a little. Maybe they're split between Freddie Anderson and Taylor Hall and Logan Stankoven. If they're all splitting the votes fairly evenly, maybe Marner's
Maybe.
ahead.
But I at this point now, I don't think you can give it to Anderson after these. Yeah, like after this series now, I don't
If
think you can.
if he still played and was good enough, I think you still could. But I I really do wonder. I don't know if they've said it yet, and they probably haven't. But I wonder if he's going to start this game 4. That is today. We're
Mhm.
recording this the morning on the Tuesday,
Yeah.
and frankly, I was of the opinion Freddie should start game 4. When he got pulled, it was like, okay, like get him out of there, stop the bleeding, regroup for next game. Um, I don't think his performance was bad enough. He should not get the next start. But then Bussy came in and was so good. I think he proved that he should probably be the guy going into the next game. And even the game-winning goal in
Give him a
double
chance,
overtime
yeah.
that finally did go in was off the back end. Martinook tried to shoot it, kind of flubbed it, went off the back of Bussy and in the net.
Yeah, it's one of those ones
Like,
like you can't even fault the goalie.
yeah,
But it's one of those it's still one of those tough ones, right? Because you know, do you put trust in your goalie that you've had all playoffs and Anderson, throw him back in there, maybe as a stellar game? Do you throw Bussy in, maybe he continues to be great? Or do you throw him Bussy and maybe he was just on something that night, and you throw him and he gets lit up for 3 in the first, and then you're like, now it's a big decision to make because
ruins your
there's so
playoffs.
many.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many different ways it can go. So it's a huge decision. I'm not quite sure necessarily if there's a right or wrong answer yet. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
it'll definitely be interesting. But game 3, I think we can fully dive into that now here. I mean, what a game! What an incredible game! Really from start to finish, honestly. I know you didn't have the luxury of watching the game in full, and I do expect that you will go back and watch it
Yeah.
all. But again, this series has just given us, we're only 3 games in, and it's just given us everything we could have asked for in a Stanley Cup final.
Yeah. Well, when I'm checking my phone and I'm like, end of the second period, 4-0 Vegas. Okay, so I probably some fun looking goals. I'm not missing much not seeing this game. Like it 4-0 in Vegas. Okay, they're getting rinsed. Hopefully the Canes can bring it back. And then I check my phone later and it's 4-4, and I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, I was like feeling the vibes without even watching the game. I was like on the drive home going like, holy shit, how did they possibly do this? Like, is such a ridiculous comeback for an away team, no less. Like, the home team, they get a couple goals, they get the crowd going, you can really build some momentum. For an away team to rattle off 3 goals in, what was it, 91 seconds is just bonkers.
It's and it really, this game, when you look at it, it was
I think it was like
a
51 seconds actually.
just in regulation, it was just a tale of basically 3 different games, all in wrapped into one. The first period is very much a just teams kind of feeling each other out. Series is tied. Neither team wanting to make mistakes, being very, just protective, and
Yeah.
not a whole lot going on. Then you get to period 2, and Vegas outshoots Carolina 14-5. They win that period 4-0, and that's even scoring 4 goals after already scoring 2 goals that were called back.
Yeah.
And then the third period, then it's Carolina's turn, and they win that period 4-0, and they outshoot Vegas. So it's like 3 different periods all in the same game, but they were all just completely different. And then we saw, a little bit of a flashback to game 2, and Carolina ties it up late, Svechnikov, and Vegas is thinking about challenging it. And I think Tortorella, realized I used my one chance to do it.
Yep.
Didn't pay off. Can't afford to go and do that in game 3 here, especially when Carolina had just scored a power play goal. Now, it was a 6-on-4, but you couldn't take that risk. You have to put faith that your team will bounce back in overtime and get the job done. And in the end, they did. I thought both teams had good chances back and forth throughout overtime, and Vegas just happened to get a lucky bounce when it mattered most, and that's all they needed. Shea Theodore, his 6th of the playoffs too.
Is it crazy to say that I felt like I saw that goal coming not during the shot, but after it hit the boards?
Yeah, as soon as I
feel like a lot of people were waiting for some goofy ass goal to end this epic marathon of a game. As soon as it hit the backboards, I was like, that's gonna bounce right out front. It's got a chance. I kind of thought it would go to the stick of a Vegas player on a really crazy bounce. I didn't think it was gonna go like right in off the goalie, but it just felt like anything could end the game with any weird bounce or whatever. I brought up the stat: 3 goals in 39 seconds by the Hurricanes. 39 seconds. That is so ridiculous.
And even going into that overtime,
how do you even get possession and enter their zone 3 times in 39 seconds? Like,
good teams just find a way to do it. And again, that's what really helps in Carolina's favor is, being so good in the face-off dot. 54 really wins for Carolina in the face-off circle to Vegas is 37. So basically,
Vegas is a very good face-off team as well.
Yeah,
like they're beating up on a very good face-off team in that dot. Like they're so good at it. I know Jordan Staal especially is very good at the face-offs.
Yeah,
man, I really hope this gets tied up at 2s tonight. Not only because I'm cheered for the Hurricanes, but just like either way, I hope this series goes 7. This has to go 7. Yeah. Like this has the potential to like be one of the greatest Stanley Cup finals of all time. And that's so awesome,
the best we've gotten in recent years. Like, yeah, this one is just an all-timer.
And so many people were so down on this, being like, great, Hurricanes, Golden Knights.
I think people were just down on it, though, because they don't like the teams. And I was the same way. I said, I don't like these teams, but I did say it's going to be a good cup final because these teams are so evenly matched. And
I kind of think so, but I don't think they realized. I don't think they realized that's why they were saying it. I think they were
complaining.
I think they were saying casual, they were like they were being like, oh, it's because they're defensive. They're such defensive specialist teams. And I think that was just a bit of cope for them just not liking the teams that are in the finals. But like,
because anyone who actually has been watching the playoffs and hockey in general for at least 1 year knows that this was still going to be an entertaining cup final with these teams. If you don't like the teams, like sure, that's fine, but we knew it was going to be good hockey, and
didn't know it was going to be this good.
Three 1-goal games, games 1 and 2. 2-goal leads blown, and that team ends up losing. In this one, I mean, Vegas was going into the third period up 4-0. Teams up by 4 more goals in the cup final all time are 108-0, and we were like, oh shit, now we're going into overtime. Is this going to be the one? Is this going to be the one that
it would have been so good?
Is maybe a once in a lifetime thing to ever happen? And unfortunately, Vegas had to rip that away from us and did win. And they props to them. Like both teams deserve to win this game. It's not Vegas just gutted it out in the end. Carolina got it. Like both teams had their moments and capitalized when they needed to. Braden McNabb especially. I mean, left game too early on, taking a brutal shot right to the face. Fouquet John went out there in game 3, 2 assists, a +3, and played just shy of 36 minutes in this game. That is the definition of a playoff warrior there. Mitch Marner, we already talked about. It was interesting, though, because a lot of people are wondering why, because we saw Carolina swap goalies after Vegas's 4, and a lot of people are wondering why didn't Vegas do it? And the answer is pretty simple. You can't throw a cold goalie in overtime. That's just really what it is you can't have a goalie play 60 minutes, get lit up near the end of the third, and be like, all right, starting overtime, we're going to throw our backup in. Because
I don't know. He let in 3 goals in 39 seconds. He let in 4 in a period.
But I don't fault Hart on many of them.
Not really.
Like, it was
me
more
either.
Just like Carolina was just buzzing, and like Vegas just all of a sudden couldn't defend.
I guess I'm just more on the
open. Like, it was.
Yeah, I guess I'm just more on the side of like, if they left Harden, it's because they trusted him to settle it down more than they don't want to put a guy in cold in overtime.
I think a combination of
but I guess it would be a combination because you know what? If that happened in the second period, similar to what Carolina did, they probably start the third with Aiden Hill. So
exactly.
It's probably
I think
both.
It's a combination of both. And again, that's we've seen Torts gamble in the series before and didn't pay off. That's a huge gamble to throw Hill in. She's just went 2.5 hours of just sitting the whole time to be like, now you're going in and overtime. Carolina could have easily came in 1 shot, 1 goal, and then it's like you maybe just lost the series there. So it's very tough to say.
I guess, but Bussy's going in. Bussy went in the third period, and he hadn't played a game in 2 months.
A little bit different, though. A little bit different when you're the goalie going in. It's like, we're down 4-0. We're going to try and maybe come back to win this. And if we lose, let's lose with pride versus...
That is true. We just
choked a 4-goal lead at home. We're going to throw you in for overtime and hope you can get the job done. It's very different mindsets for the goalies, I feel.
No, you're 100% right.
Because there's
when
zero
Bussy
pressure
went
on Bussy going in.
When he went in, nobody thought they were coming back. So
yeah, it's to give Freddie the rest of the night off, and let's hope we only lose. Let's try and make a game out of it at least.
Boy, did they!
They sure did. Yes, this series deserves a 7, though. This has been just phenomenal, start to finish. One thing that I thought was quite interesting, after 2 periods, so Carolina down 4-0 going into the third, Sebastian Aho had the 4th least ice time by forwards for the Hurricanes. Which I thought was pretty...
That shows to me that
your first line
Rod
center.
the Bod is watching the same games I'm watching. Aho looks fucking bad out there. Like not just not up to his standards. He looks bad. Every time he gets the puck and is the one to walk into the zone, he takes a couple too many stick handles. He's looking around for a pass, and all of a sudden he looks back and the puck's behind him. Like, he's losing it constantly. He's flubbing his passes. He's not in the place that he should be. He just doesn't look good out there right now, and I've never seen him play like this. He's one of those players that's always been such a pillar of consistency for me. Like, I know Mark Scheifele was that guy for multiple years. John Tavares was. Like, he was up there with those guys of, like, pencil him in for a solid playoff run, point per game. He's going to get 85 to 90 points in the regular season. And
I know exactly what it is.
They get finally past the conference finals, and this entire run, he's just not been a huge factor for them.
It's the same thing I've seen happen the last 2 years when they go out in the conference final. Now this year, when the games start to get physical, contact and forecheck, Aho doesn't like that. Aho doesn't like. I mean, and no player likes to get hit, but like Aho is making these mistakes because he does not want to get hit.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't blame him. Like, nobody wants to get hit, but when it's getting to the point now where you are actively hurting your team by being out there because you are just straight up scared to get hit, that is a problem. When you are the top line center, when you are, I mean, the most offensively gifted player on your team, you can't be doing this. You can't be doing this, especially in the Cup Finals. So, and granted, he did end the game with 2 assists in the end, but
sure.
And had some great plays. Like that pass to Taylor Hall was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, your top line center. It's if they don't want to get in the dirty areas, they want to just play on the perimeter. That's not going to fly for Brendamore. And you're going to spend more time sitting on the bench. So,
do you have? If you don't Sebastian Aho's stats up right now?
No.
Okay. He has played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years in a row that him and the Hurricanes have made it to the playoffs. Now, obviously, he's played more games this year than any other year because they're in the Cup final. Where do you think this ranks out of those 8 years?
Got to be
in points,
because he's usually about a point per game. So, but I know this year he is quite a bit under, so it's probably like second worst.
It's his very worst.
It is his straight up worst.
Starting at 18-19, going to current day, 12 points. That one's in 8 games. He had 12 points. 11 points, 11 points, 12 points, 12 points, 15 last year, and then 10 this year. Like
that 8 going into Game 3.
Yeah. Like his production is quite a bit down. It's like that consistency is so crazy that he's always good for at least 11 or 12 points in the playoffs. But and then he had a great one last year, but then this year it's been falling off, and he's got to get that going. He's one of those big dogs that he makes the big bucks. He has to be that guy. Like, what team? I would love to go back and do a deep dive on every cup winning team and see what one of the worst 1C performances has been in a winning effort for the cup. Because just because that's where the best play. That's where McDavid is. That's where Crosby is. That's where McKinnon is. Like, most of your stars are generally the centerman on that top line, and it's like an impossible position to win without. Not trying to rag on him too hard. Yeah. That entire top line has been underperforming. Jarvis got quite a few people off his back with that OT winner in Game 2, but
you still need more from your top line though, at the end of the day.
From the entire top line.
But again, though, I was saying in Game 3 again kind of goes back to what I'm saying. Jordan Martinook gets the comeback started there. Taylor Hall, who, again, he's not one of the star players, but he's one of their better players. Jordan Staal, and then Svechkov. Like, again, it's the comeback gets started by their depth, and it continues to be fueled by their depth. It is not top guys getting it done. This is the way Carolina plays.
Yeah.
That's back-to-back games now where they've pulled off a comeback, and it is started by their, third and fourth line. Then it continues to roll. So it's a big thing with them. It is by committee, and it's a team where even if the top line is struggling, not getting it done, the third and fourth line will stand up and say, "We got this." And
yeah,
more often than not, they do got it. They've shown that now multiple times here. So interesting. I do think this series is far from over. Again, game 4.
I hope so.
Like all these other
really
ones,
hope so.
It is going to be a must watch. So looking forward to game 4, who would you go with in net for Carolina tonight?
I would. My gut says Brandon Vasy because he was very good in relief. But before that game, the odds favorite for the Conn Smythe on the Carolina Hurricanes was Freddie Anderson. He had been very good. He's an emotional leader on this team as well. I think that's going under the radar as well. Like, he's a veteran. He's been there. He wants it so bad. Everything that happened with Claude Lemieux, them being such good friends, just adds to the emotion of it. I think you have to leave it up to Freddie. I think you ask Freddie.
That's where I'm at. I think you go with Freddie. You say, "Are you good to go?" And can you get the job done? And if he says yes, you absolutely roll with him, because if you go to
go up and you say you trust him, but if he doesn't want to play, obviously you don't play him. But
but he's not going to say no. He's going to be he's going to be up to the task. And because again, like, this is if the series does go 7. This is the halfway point of the series tonight, in game 4.
Yeah.
If you go to Butsy in this game, that's your guy now. I think you're going to lose this series if you go with Butsy and then you have to at some point go back to Freddie, because it means you probably lose game 4. And I kind of do think if Carolina does lose tonight, very good chance that this series is over for them.
I think don't see Carolina beating this. No lead is safe.
3 games.
No lead is safe. And in a series like that, it's very hard to win 3 in a row.
It's possible, but it's
it's
still going to be very unlikely.
Very improbable.
I think if you go with Butsy, you are committing to him that he's your guy for the rest of the series now.
And frankly, I don't think probably also means going forward, just in general for the Hurricanes.
So I don't think you can make that big of a jump yet when you are down the series, but you're only down 2-1. You're one crazy bounce away in overtime, just like Vegas, from now you're taking a 2-1 lead. You don't blow that.
Well, Rod the Bot said they're a couple bounces away from being up 3-0.
Up 3-0
after the game. And he's not wrong. All these games have been so close.
Either team could be up 3-0. Carolina could be up 2-1, but the reality is Vegas is up 2-1. I think you got to go with Freddie. You got to go with the guy that got you there, and you got to put trust in your starting goalie.
I cannot believe we're 3 games in and that's it. There's so much to unpack with this series. Like 3 goals called back in total just on Vegas's side. There's probably more than 2
game.
2 own goals in game 3 on Carolina's end. I don't even know if that's all of them in the series. Like there's just so much going on. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And I think you gotta kind of give it to Freddie, and you gotta say, if you want it, it's yours. You're our guy, and we trust you. And
absolutely, that's how. I feel
hopefully he can hold down the fort. He's such an easy guy to cheer for, especially given the circumstances, especially who they're playing against. Like, it would be such a feel-good story if he was able to win it, and especially if he was able to put up some good enough performance. Because, like, Conn Smythe odds change like crazy. Like, I think his odds were 12-1 going into that game, and now they're like 48-1. Like, if he shuts them out, if he starts tonight and shuts them out, he's going right back up to 12 or 15 or something like that. Like, he's jumping right back up there. Like, a great performance can catapult you, and especially in the finals, like your performances kind of matter about the same in all three series, and then they kind of matter like double in the
Yeah.
finals, I feel like, for the Conn Smythe voting. So it's like double is not as much as all three other rounds combined, but it's more than any one other round. So, and that's why, Mitch Marner had a fucking hat trick, 4 points in a period. Now because he did that in the finals, now we're really talking, could he win it on the losing team? Like that's the level we're talking.
Yeah. No, you absolutely are right.
Oh my god. It's not even 11 o'clock yet, dude. We got so much day before this game starts.
Anything else?
That's enough time to watch game 3.
Yeah. Anything else in this series or going into game 4 that you wanted to go over before we jump on into the rest of the news around the league?
2 things. One is that I think the most important single person in this entire series is Rod Brind'Amour. We have seen so many times throughout these whole playoffs, and it was just reiterated like crazy in game 3, that when the Hurricanes go out there and just want to score a goal, they might be the most undeniable team in the league. That includes the Oilers on a power play. That includes this insane Avalanche team this year. Sometimes they go, like the amount of times they've gone out there and just at the start of a period said, fuck you, score in the first 30 seconds. Like, they demolished the Canadians with that. It felt like every period started with a goal in 30 seconds or less. Like, and they just decided, we're going to come back 3 goals in 39 seconds. Ridiculous. If he can get these guys into that run through a brick wall mode enough, this Hurricanes team can absolutely come back. I think him getting them that juiced up could absolutely swing the tides. And he's just kind of, and like obviously those guys want it, but it's that reaching that next level beyond wanting it, like any team would want the Stanley Cup, right? Like it's all, those are the margins we're talking about in the Stanley Cup final. And then the other guy I wanted to talk about, who I haven't heard like anybody talk about this guy going into the Cup final, considering everyone talks about this guy like he is the cornerstone of their franchise. Jaccob Slavin. He's blown a couple assignments. He's not doing fantastic. He's not horrendous, but he's making some mistakes that you don't usually see Jaccob Slavin make. There's a couple.
I will say something, and I've seen a lot of people starting to throw it out there. I genuinely do think we are at the point now where Jaccob Slavin is getting overrated, in my opinion. I do think he is still a fantastic defenseman, potentially still the best in the league, but people are talking about him like he's a top 10 defenseman in the league.
I was just saying, a lot of people have him in their top 10.
And
I've seen plenty of lists.
I don't, because again, I think offense is still a part of the game, and when Jaccob Slavin's out there, he really just does not provide much for any offense.
He's a black hole. He's a coach's dream. He's a guy you can send out there for 23 minutes a night, and dick all is going to happen when he's out there, and you can plan the rest of your game around it. Like, that's all well and good. It's hard to feel confident about saying that makes him a top 10 defenseman, because nothing will happen out there. That means that's not a net positive. That means you're staying even, right?
Yeah.
So,
and so far in this series, I mean, he does have 2 assists, which is nice, and he's just a straight up even. He is not a plus. He is not a minus in any games. 1 shot on goal in game 1, and that's been it. Like, it's
wow.
Only 2 blocks, 0 hits. What does he do? If you want to tell me he's a great defenseman, I want to see multiple blocks a game. I want to see multiple hits, because let's go take a look at
it. Is kind of crazy because he's so good defensively, but he doesn't even do it that way. Like he's one of those players that breaks up plays before they happen. Like, he is truly one of the players that is so good, and it shows by how little is on his stat sheet. Like, he doesn't. He's a great defensive defenseman, and people think of that. They think of guys like Chara, they'll block all the shots. They'll crunch you against the boards. Slavin doesn't really lay the body much. He just takes the puck from guys. He doesn't even have to block it. Usually he just cuts down the angle.
Yeah. Chatfield has 10 blocks.
Yeah.
So.
And maybe that's more what you'd like to see out of him. Or maybe it's because Vegas knows who he is and is playing more to Chatfield's side. I'm not sure, but he's usually he's not noticeable almost at all, except for the great defensive plays. And that's a good thing because nothing's happening while he's out there. That's his job. But there's been more instances in this series than there usually is in a 3-game span where it's, ooh, Slavin was out there for that 2-on-1 that developed. Slavin was out there for this play. Like, and if he's even, clearly he's also out there for a couple of goals. But he's, I think you want a little bit more out of Jacob Slavin as well.
Yeah, that's kind of the way that I feel. Again, like, still a great, defense. We know that, but
yeah,
again,
not going to go as hard on him as Aho, but
yeah, no, definitely not, because Slavin's not really relied on for offense. But you'd like to see him mix it up a bit more, or especially with how much time he's plugging out there on the penalty kill, like some more shot blocks, like. I feel like if you're a defenseman and you have that
straight up keep the goals against average
down. You're actively trying to get out of the way of the puck.
Yeah, like
when you look at how many shot blocks, like everybody else, like just going through the Canes last game, Chatfield had 4.
He's such a defensive defenseman, but he doesn't
Aho.
even farm the defensive stats. It's crazy. Yeah. He's a defensive defenseman, but he doesn't farm hits. Block shot. He doesn't even really farm plus minus that much because he's not out there for the pluses at near as often. Like he really is like a net zero player in the best way possible. It's crazy.
So here's some shot blocks from game 3 here on Vegas. Theodore had 3, Eichel had 4, Anderson had 2, Stone had 4, Dowd had 2, Lauzon had 6, Hannafin had 2. Let's take a look at Vegas's in game 2. Howden had 3. Stone had 2. Hannafin had 4. Barbashev had 3. Coughlin had 2. Anderson had 2. Lauzon had 2. Like McNabb, they say has none, but like he obviously has had one. I'm going to count that as a shot block on his end. But it's like when you get to the Cup final, it's Vegas's players are laying it on the line. They're putting their bodies on the line and they're blocking shots like.
Can I be honest?
Animals.
We judge that commercial too harshly. There's been multiple times in this playoff where I'm like, I kind of wish they would run it.
Yeah,
like a few times. It back.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be all for that.
I would have popped like crazy if they played it while Marner was circling around getting ready for his penalty shot. I would have lost it.
That would be pretty sick.
Good for Bussy stopping that because Marner had destiny on his stick there. Like that was a tough save.
Did.
That was good. But yeah,
I think
that's about
anything else.
I think that's about everything I've got on this series. It's been a lot of fun, and we're only 3 games in. That's so ridiculous with the amount of hockey we've got and the caliber of hockey we've gotten. That's just insane.
Yeah. And it's, it is worth noting at the time of this recording, we are recording this on Tuesday morning, so game 4 will take place tonight. Game 5 on Thursday, so potentially the next episode that we are recording, we could be talking about Stanley Cup champions. Potentially.
Could be over. I hope not, man. This series has been so good. If Vegas gets 2 convincing wins, it'll just go right into the pile with, okay, it was just another Stanley Cup final. Like, if it's not very close games, I think people will relatively quickly forget how electric it was and, beat them in 5 games. It's a pretty one-sided Stanley Cup final.
Yeah. Got some awards so we can talk about here.
Absolutely.
Connor McDavid winning his 5th Ted Lindsay Award, which ties him with Wayne Gretzky for the most all time. So congratulations to Connor McDavid there, and I think it's I think this was the right choice because again, Ted Lindsay is the one voted on by the players. I never saw the actual voting for this one though. I don't know if they released the voting for this one because it is by the players.
Yeah, I did not see it either. So if neither of us did, then probably didn't. I would imagine.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Um,
But congrats, Connor McDavid, Ted Lindsay winner.
I was shocked when I heard, because I kept hearing Wayne Gretzky's name brought up, and I figured it was just because McDavid's got 5 Ted Lindsays. Like, he's getting to that point where it's like, these are the hardwares he's compared to. I didn't know he was going to tie Gretzky for the amount with only 5. I did a little bit of digging, and maybe this is something you already know. Maybe this is common knowledge, but somehow I didn't even know this. Did you know in Gretzky's best, well, I guess maybe not best season because he had the 92 goal year, but in the year where he put up 215 points, the all-time highest scoring season in NHL history, did you know he didn't win the Ted Lindsay that year? Back then it was called the Lester B. Pearson, but the player voted best player.
Who won it that year?
I believe it was Mario Lemieux, who also had a very good season, but I think he was around 160 points. And
yeah, but that's the thing I like about the Ted Lindsay Award, though, and what it's about. Like, it's not always just the player with the most points. It's,
sure,
the players have the best insight on the game and, can...
And I'm always championing that. I'm always saying that I think the Ted Lindsay is more important and prestigious than the Hart Trophy because it's voted on by the players. At the same time, does it not feel absolutely ridiculous that the 215-point season didn't win it for him?
But
like, it feels like you should basically be a lock if you have the best offensive season in the sports history. Like, if a guy put up 216 points next year, if a guy puts up 216 points, I want him to win it, like, basically no matter what. I don't care if a goalie had 25 shutouts. Like, that's...
Yeah, but also you're probably looking at it that time, and it's like you're looking at Gretzky and like, what? He just went 196, 205, 208, 215. So you're probably sitting there like he's probably going to drop 230 next year, and then we'll vote for him. The way that things were going for him. Was also right in the middle of their 2-2 for cups. I don't know. Maybe it's because Paul Coffey had 138 points, Curry had 131, Glenn Anderson had 102. Who knows?
That's not that close to 215. Like, those guys are putting great numbers up, but 215 is ridiculous. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a Canadian. I'm not exactly a Wayne Gretzky fan anymore. But that was just crazy to me when I heard that. But yeah, congrats to McDavid.
But also, Lemieux just came in. That was his second year in the league, and he dropped 141 points. It's very similar to if Celebrini won this year. It's a second-year player coming in and just kind of taking over the game a bit, taking the league by storm. Something like that potentially.
I think McDavid's probably the right pick. I think he's probably the right guy for it. I wouldn't have had a problem if Kucherov won it. If you want to go the Atlantic Division route, he has a harder time getting points compared to McDavid being in the Pacific. There's also the points per game argument, but
there really was no wrong winner here.
Yeah,
because then you same like Celebrini. It's the easy argument is just
point gap over the next guy.
He put an awful team on his back.
Yeah.
So I think what won it for McDavid, though, in the end was Draisaitl going down, Edmonton kind of, fighting for their playoffs, and they, because they were still just right in the fight. They were bouncing between Pacific 3 and Wildcard 2 and whatnot, and McDavid just put the team on his back and just willed them into the playoffs to the point where he was so banged up and injured that he couldn't perform in the playoffs. He laid it on the line.
That's fair. I kind of think he won for like the same reason, but for a different reason. Like, I think that stretch down the end is what won it for him. But I think it was the fact that he won the Art Ross. It was McKinnon for a while, and then he kind of fell off, and then it was between McDavid and Kucherov, and down the stretch, McDavid just balled out. I think he had a 1 or 2 5-point or maybe a 6-point game mixed in there. Like, he had a couple insane games and just really. I think did he have one against the Sharks? Am I misremembering that? Where he had like a a Mitch Marner style like one game period hat trick type of game. And I think they were really watching that Art Ross race, and as soon as he won that, I think that really put him over the edge.
It's definitely very possible, but
absolutely deserved.
We
all-timer.
Should move on here, so we because we're starting to get to the point where a lot of this stuff is going to be too long in the episode for some people. But Tampa Bay, talk about your boy here.
Andrei Vasilevskiy winning his second career Vezina trophy, which I am obviously very happy about, especially just because it's so nice to see him get that second one, because it's always just irked me that it felt like he was robbed in 2021, 22, whichever year Fleury won the Vezina. Not that Fleury didn't deserve it, but Vasy was a decent bit better than him that year. But yeah, congrats to Vasy. He was incredible this year. He put up a .912 save percentage. That doesn't sound like a lot to a lot of people. However, the league average save percentage was .896. So he was 0.016, 0.016 save percentage higher than the average. So he was 0.016 save percentage above the average. To put that into perspective, the year that Carey Price won the Hart Trophy and the Vezina in 2015, he was 0.018 above league average in save percentage. So not as good as that season, obviously, but Vasy was right up there with some of the really good Vezina seasons we've seen in the past decade plus. I think a lot of people just don't really recognize it because it's so hard to compare. Like, you look at a .912 save percentage, and that just doesn't look that sexy on paper. But when you really look at the context of the season and the league averages, that reality is that's elite now. Like, if
goal scoring is just
if scoring stays where it is, 9-10 goaltenders are going to be worth $9 million. Like, that's
you're absolutely
those
right.
are the top guys.
I mean, Vasy, I think at the end they deserved to win this. It was, we talked about it. It was kind of a two-man race down the stretch between him and Sorokin. Sorokin had a couple bad games, and Islanders missed the playoffs. Vasy stayed consistent. Tampa made the playoffs. It was pretty easy to see at that point that, it's...
I am surprised how much Sorokin fell, though. He was very close to being third in the voting. He only finished I think it was less than 10 points ahead of Jeremy Swayman.
Was missed the playoffs, so that matters a lot to the voters. Whether
it really does, and that kind of highlights it
or not. And voters have been very open about that. They're saying, like, when you've got two guys that are like neck and neck with each other, you try and find anything to kind of be that little tiebreaker. And quite a few times it is, did one make the playoffs? Did one not? You go with the guy who got
the Vezina is also one of the few awards voted on by the GMs. So
that is true.
The GMs, of course, it makes sense that they're the guys that are very. Did you get your team to the playoffs? Because as a GM, that's what I would care about from my goalie. So it makes sense on that front as well. But congrats to the Big Cat, second career Vezina. Hopefully he can get at least one more before he's all done. At least.
Coaching news. The Los Angeles Kings hiring Peter Laviolette as their next head coach. Laviolette moving on from the Rangers and joining the Kings. And sure, I don't even have much to honest because I just don't think it does anything positive or negative for the Kings. I think it keeps them perfectly mid.
Yeah, honestly,
That's really the way
same. Like it's. I don't know. I guess it's better than some of their recent coaches, but I feel like that's because I don't like a lot of their recent coaching decisions.
Yeah, no, they've just been consistently stuck in a weird spot here when it comes to coaches, and I don't think this helps.
What does that say about the
much.
guys who are hiring them?
Yeah,
I think they need to shake up that organization from higher up, whether that's GM or above. I think they need to redo the structure a bit. But yeah, we'll see how they do under Peter Laviolette. They have traditionally been a very defensive team, very, very shut down, very eliminate chances at 5-on-5. Peter Laviolette doesn't I feel like at times he's coached teams like that, but at the very least most recently coaching the Rangers of all teams, really hasn't played that style. So I am interested to see if some of their players that feel a bit more stagnant maybe can take a jump. Maybe this gets Quinton Byfield going. We've been waiting for him to break out, and he's good, but he's still not that guy we thought.
It's just the consistency is just not there. He'll have a stretch where it's a point per game for 20 games, and then he'll go a 20-game stretch where it's 1 assist. Right?
Yeah.
It's finding that level of consistency, and maybe this is what the Kings need because, Drew Doughty's getting up there in age. Brandt Clark is pretty close to jumping over him in the lineup, or should be at least. Kopitar, is now retired. Like the key pieces that were so instrumental to making the Kings this defensive powerhouse and just shutting other teams down. They're starting to lose those guys, and so now maybe you start to look towards. We got to start going for a more offensive game, and I think that'll obviously help having Panarin there for a full season next year. You'll have Fiala back. They definitely need to figure out what they're going to do with their centers because it's a huge gamble if you're going into next year with Quinton Byfield as your 1C, just because again he has shown the high end skill, but he has not shown any consistency at the NHL level. So it's a big gamble going in with him as your first line center. So it'll be curious to see what they do there. And again, it is Ken Holland, so.
Which kind of makes it more fun.
Probably nothing great.
Because you have no idea what they're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely no idea what they're going to do. Another team
we got some other ones here, but I just figured, just because I don't know if you've seen this yet, we got a little bit of breaking news. Have you seen any of the breaking news over the last hour? Because it's not on our list.
I don't believe so.
Well, then I'll get to break it to you. We have an extension. Minnesota Wild have extended Michael McCarron for $3.33 million AAV for 6 more seasons.
Yeah, I don't care. To be honest,
that's
a lot of money for a fourth liner.
That's cup contender. That's real cup contender shit right there. Given the not a ton of money for way longer than is necessary. I imagine they're not expecting him to play out this entire deal. He's just going to collect the checks at a certain point. I think it's one of those type of deals. The Yanni Gourde, the Brad Marchand.
He'll be traded off beforehand.
I
don't think any player's willing to take a long deal to retire at 34. He was only 31, I believe.
According to Russo, McCarron has a no-move clause throughout the contract. However, there's language in the deal that in the event of an expansion draft, he doesn't need to be protected. in the last 3 years of the deal, it turns into a 15-team no trade along with the no move. So no move throughout the whole thing. So he can't go to the minors, which is very interesting. And then in the back half, it becomes a 15-team no trade. So
he'll play 3 years and then they'll ship him out.
They'll ship him off somewhere where he can't go to the AHL.
Yeah,
makes sense.
I like that expansion one though. I like that little wrinkle in there.
Honestly, yeah. Like, I wish teams would get more creative with a lot of the contracts. Like, you can, like, unless there's specific rules in the CBA telling you can't do stuff, you can basically just do whatever you want with contracts. That's what people learned with the deferred money. They were like, oh, we can just, like, write in what your salary is, but, like, we could just, like, pay it way later when it doesn't matter. And then the league was like, oh, shit, they definitely can do that. We got to stop this. Like, you get some creative lawyer types in there. You can find some cheeky stuff real quick. But we can continue with the other news we have written down here.
Yeah, next bit of coaching news we got here. The Edmonton Oilers are nearing a deal to hire Mike Babcock as their next head coach. Oh boy.
Off the top of your head, how many things do you think is wrong with this? I'm not talking about severity of how bad. How many different angles do you think you can bring up to make this a horrible decision?
A couple.
Because there's so many for me, and they're all decently bad enough that it blows my mind this is even being considered. Why are you hiring him before the playoffs are even done? Nobody else wants this fucking guy, so you are not forced to make this hiring right away. He's obviously not a very good coach, otherwise somebody would have taken him or even considered him. He already got his second chance with Columbus. He didn't even make it to the regular season. We still don't know what's going on with Bruce Cassidy. Bruce Cassidy clearly wants to at least talk to Edmonton about coming to Edmonton. But
we at this point now, though, we know Vegas isn't going to let him. They're not going to let Bruce Cassidy go to Edmonton.
No, but I think they're going to have to let him go somewhere.
Yeah, I think they're just not going to let him go to Edmonton, though. Once the playoffs are done, they'll probably let him go interview anywhere except Edmonton. It's kind of the way I feel like it's going to go.
I don't know. I feel like the league would step in if they were letting him interview at every other team. I feel like they might want to do something about that.
That's the way it goes, though. Like, we've just never really seen it because teams aren't assholes and they want their guys to go on and have success elsewhere. We're fine if everyone hates us. Like, sure. Vegas is the one team that's people hate a different approach around.
But they're not going to be fine when the league is like punishing them for it, right? Like Gary Bettman can make your life hell if he wants to, and if Vegas, I don't think it'd be worth it to Vegas. But
it's not like Vegas is doing anything illegal, though, is the thing.
No, but neither did Vancouver with the contracts they signed in the early 2010s, and they got fined a bunch of money for signing those legal contracts because they were against what the NHL wanted. Like, if they don't like what you're doing, they'll find a reason to ding you. They'll say John Tortorella did bad with the media again and hammer you. Like,
but they haven't yet.
Like,
why not? We can throw in the hypothetical of maybe, but the thing is, the league still hasn't.
Sure, but like, why is Edmonton? Why doesn't Edmonton wait and see?
Because you need to.
Babcock's not going
anywhere. People say
you
can wait. You can wait all off season. Like, the thing is, you do got to have your coach figured out by the draft. You do got to have your coach figured out before free agency, and that is, well,
he needs to know whose phones to go through.
Rapidly approaching. There's a couple ways I can look at it, and the people saying that, Babcock is like, I've already seen people saying like, oh, hiring Mike Babcock is like the Oilers going out and trading for Carter Hart, and it's like, no, because what Babcock is.
I've been comparing it to the Tristan Jarry trade
for being a not the greatest dude, but it's not like he's a criminal, and it's not like he's done illegal things. He's not a good dude, and that's not even the issue that I fully have with the Oilers going after Babcock. It truly is for me. It's just I think the game has passed Mike Babcock by. He's been out of the league for so long. He's very clearly been one of those coaches that doesn't want to adjust his style because he's like, it worked for so many years in Detroit. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it's like the league has just evolved so much over the past few years that he's
Edmonton's
been out of
at
the
the
league.
forefront of that. Like Edmonton is the least Mike Babcock seeming team in the league. Maybe the Avs are a worse fit, but like that's like the only other one. Like they're like one of the last teams that would work with his older school style because they're so high fly offense. Like
it's like if you want to,
it's
if
very
you plan
bizarre.
on bringing Mike Babcock in because he's a bit of a hard ass and whatnot, just go get Greg Berube then.
Right?
Like if that's what draws you to Babcock, just go the route of Craig Berube.
I really think they should be picking Berube. I think that's what they should be going for now, or seeing what else is out there. I think he should be one of their top candidates, but like I've kind of been waiting to see if it gets announced during the show. Like it sounds like any minute now, or I thought it was going to happen yesterday. They're going to hire Babcock. Sounds like they're getting permission from the league. They're making sure that they're allowed to because he was kind of excommunicated. I don't know if the league like banned him before, or if it was really, or if it was just nobody's hiring him. Like he had several years in between Toronto and Columbus, got hired in the offseason for Columbus and fired in the preseason. So like
it also, says
I think
the
league wanted to put a ban on him, but it was like, there's no need. Nobody's going for him.
Mm-hmm. And it's also like, it says a lot when you have to go to the league and like ask for kind of permission to be like, can this guy be our head coach? It's like, it's probably not a good idea then. Well, but again, like it's not like Babcock's done illegal things. It's just, he just hasn't been the greatest dude. He hasn't been the greatest,
he's been a bully.
coach. And but it's not illegal. Bullying's not, a criminal thing. Like he's not the greatest dude. He's not the greatest mentor leader for younger players. But again, like I'm not going to jump on the train of people being like, he should be banned from the league. He should be locked up in this. Like he's not a good dude, but again, for me, Edmonton,
I wouldn't hate if he was banned from the league. Going through players' phones and shit is like that's a breach of privacy.
Yeah, but my biggest thing with Edmonton is just I don't think he's a good fit for in the league anymore. Like again, I think the game has just passed him by too much.
Can I ask you something about the old school guys in Edmonton? Do you think, and like this probably isn't the core reason they brought him in, do you think this has something to do with them losing in the playoffs to the Anaheim Ducks, who just brought in an old coach who was held out of the league for a couple of years, gets reinstated, brought back in? Damn, he looks like a really good fit for Anaheim. Do you think there's at least a part of the really old school higher up brass in Paul Coffey and the like in Edmonton going, that could be us. That could be us. If we're smart enough to go for the guy everyone's written off. Like, and there's guys like Carter Hart right now. Like, it's a league right now where a lot of teams are probably looking, hey, let's see if we can get the guys others aren't willing to do, almost the Vegas route of maybe we'll just take the bullet to try and be a better team. Unfortunately, I don't think they realize that guy isn't Joel Quenneville.
I do think that definitely does play a part into it. Like absolutely. I think a big problem for Edmonton is just how many, coaches they've just recycled over and over again. Like you go there and it's like you've basically got a 2-year window. We win the cup or you're fired. And all these guys that leave Edmonton have a bit of a tough time. Jay Woodcroft hasn't coached since. Nobody, doesn't sound like anybody's calling up Chris Knobloch. Ken Hitchcock, I don't think he coached after Edmonton. So it's like you kind of go there and it's you either have success or you're kind of fucked afterwards, if in terms of that. So yeah, I don't know what to make of it though. At the end of the day, it's a very like again, it's not official. They haven't officially signed him yet, but it
It's a
sounds like things
PR
are
nightmare, I
progressing
tell
that
you what.
way.
Having Stan Bowman hire this guy coming in, like that's two very incendiary guys to bring into an organization, and those are the two guys that they're trusting to spearhead getting
The
Connor
final
McDavid a
year,
Stanley Cup.
potentially the final year of McDavid,
I
because again,
think
it
this
does kind of
hiring would
sound
be the
like
nail in the coffin for it's not a 2-year window, it's a 1-year window.
well, we've kind of already been saying, well, at least I have been that it is a 1 year window. You know, McDavid's
I
been
was
pretty
like on
out
the
there of
fence
like
for it. I think this
I'm
would be
not.
like the turning point that really lends it to like I'm leaning to that side more than 2 years at that point.
Yeah, I've kind of been there because it does kind of sound like McDavid's like he doesn't want to walk. You know, he wants Edmonton to get something.
I think these Olympics opened a lot of guys' eyes to like I can win. It's not impossible. Like I was there.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
whether you're on the winning team or the losing team in the Olympics, like I think it just opened a lot of guys' eyes of like
you just need the right guy at the wheel. And
this
in
is when I
Edmonton's
need to be winning.
case, they haven't had that in years. Whereas you look at Florida, you look at Vegas, you know, even Minnesota to an extent. It's when you have the right guys at the wheel, you have success, you win, and you have fun. And again, that's something Edmonton has really struggled with. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Mike Babcock. Because again, it's not official, but things definitely are trending in that direction of him going there. So
It would be shocking if they
we'll
went
see.
with somebody else at this point with how much has
Yeah,
been talked about him at this point. Um,
absolutely. Yeah, I would agree.
uh, I heard some other people online talked about this, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. Because you were just talking about the Oilers and how much they recycle coaches. It's a little more common in other sports, mainly football, I believe. But there are some teams that just, whether it's a coach or a GM, some teams just they stick with their guys. They like their guys, they stick with them, and that's how it is. David Poyle in Nashville, he was the GM for like 25, 30 years or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
from
Like
start from their
their inception as a team
yeah
till what 3 years
till
ago,
till he decided he was ready to retire. Yeah,
and they made the playoffs a bunch. They got to the finals once. They didn't win the cup, but I wouldn't. People don't normally lump them in with Columbus, Minnesota, maybe 2 years ago, like before they got really good recently. Like they don't lump them in with a lot of those teams that have never done anything. They're closer to the Sharks, where it's like this is a bit of a storied franchise. They don't have a cup, but we all
they
know
got there.
there's
They
some
got to the Cup
prestige.
final.
Yeah,
They've had multiple award winners on their teams. Yeah,
right. Um, and then you've got some guys like John Cooper, just like this huge outlier and being a coach forever. Um, I believe it's the Pittsburgh Steelers have had like 3 head coaches over 60 years.
yeah.
They just like every head coach lasts for like 20 years, and it's just like we pick the right guy, and like when shit gets weird, we don't freak out. We know he's gonna fix it.
Mhm.
It's on us to make those adjustments, and I'm wondering like is there a place for that in hockey? Like, obviously, this whole thing that this goofy ass carousel of coaching in Edmonton just doesn't seem to work. Like, do you think that's something like Steve Yzerman? You know, everyone's talking about is he on the hot seat? Could he be a guy where the ownership is just like, we're going to talk with him, we're going to figure it out, we're going to trust him, and we're just going to lock in for the next 10 years and trust that he's going to turn it around, and like he doesn't have to worry about making a trade this offseason to get them in the playoffs next year or he's fired. He doesn't have to worry about that. He can play this slow, work the long game, know what he's doing with the draft, and like just take it from there. I'm not necessarily saying that's the best thing with the Yzerman case, but like, do you think there is a world where maybe some more teams in the NHL go that route?
Potentially, you know, even looking at San Jose and how long they had Doug Wilson there until eventually you reach that point where you know like it's time, right? And that's going to
Yeah.
happen eventually with all these guys that are long term guys. Eventually, it's just like it's time. Whether it's time for the team to move on from them or for them to be like it's I'm retiring. I'm stepping away. Um, So what was your exact question, though?
I guess just is there a place in the NHL for that to be a bit more
Oh,
commonplace?
absolutely, yeah. But at the
Coaches
end of
or
the
GMs?
day, in this league, it is about winning. You know, it's no owner of any team is going to be happy, you know, watching their team just miss the playoff year after year and be like, this jackass is getting us nowhere, but he's a good dude, so I'll keep him around. It's like, no, it is possible, but
It's got to be more of
the
a
results
trust in their
matter.
process.
The
Yeah.
results matter at the end of the day. It's, you know, you look at Stevie Y, and what he did in Tampa was great, but then he goes to Detroit and it's just the same recycled garbage over and over, and it gets to the point where it's like the team is not getting worse and it's not improving. So
Yeah.
what are you even doing here? You're just losing these players and you're going out and paying more to replace that exact same player. It's like you're not moving the team in any direction to help them. Whether it's falling down in the standings to get better picks or moving up to make the playoffs, you're stuck in the middle. And it's not ideal.
Yeah.
So absolutely, I do think there is still a place for it in the league, absolutely, but the results absolutely do matter. The results have to be, and again, it doesn't have to be, you know, you're in the playoffs year after year. If it's, you know, Mike Greer, I think is the perfect example.
Your young
He's already
players
been
improving.
GM for four years in San Jose, I think, and the team has just been bad, but it's results that are going to make them good long term.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be good. It can be bad, but it's got to be all in part of.
It either has to be good
success.
or the prospect of being good.
Exactly.
Proof that at some point, relatively soon, it will get good. And
exactly.
One thing I would love to see is more teams. So many teams seem to, when they're going into the rebuild, they hire a coach that's already got a noose around his neck. They hire a coach that they know is not going to be a coach that they win a lot with. And they're like, we're going to see if we can find a guy who can coach us once we're a fringe playoff team. And like, I would like to see some more teams like try and find a coach where they're like, all right, we want you to be in for the long haul. You're going to coach us for 3 years where we're dog shit and we're at the bottom and we're picking high in the draft. But then you're also going to coach us as we come up. We make the playoffs a couple years. We start really competing for a cup. Like, it would be cool to see more teams have that that foresight and that patience to allow a coach to build it up there for a long time and really cultivate a culture and just be there through it all with them.
Absolutely.
I would like to see that a little bit more in the NHL. I think that could be fun.
think it's absolutely possible. It's just got to be like, you know, David Carl, who's had so much success as the head coach of University of Denver, like multiple national championships. His name's been out there for a couple years, you know. Is he going to go to the NHL? Is he going to stick where he's got just a fucking great job and he's good at it, right? And it's, you know, Toronto wanted to interview him and he said no. But
it sounds like Toronto told him his number and he still turned down the interview. And it was reportedly north of 10 mil, which like easily would have made him the highest paid coach in the league. Easily.
But to him, I don't think that matters.
No, and that's why he didn't even take the interview when told that money, because he's happy where he is. He's making money. His family's there. Like,
I think there's only two teams he would go to, realistically, if he were to make the jump to the NHL right now, and that would be Chicago or San Jose. Because you know you're coming in where there's already good young talent, which you've been around for the last, you know, numerous years, and a lot of players who you've already developed and helped reach the NHL. And it's a spot where you can have long-term success. You can be a coach there for 15 years and just continue to grow and learn with these players and, you know, create something special. Whereas you go to Toronto, it's win us a cup in 2 years or you're fired. You go to
I don't even think he would go to San Jose or Chicago at this point. I don't think he wants the NHL.
I don't think he's going to, but I'm saying those are the only two teams I think realistically he would make the jump for. Because there's a lot of potential long-term job security. I think they're the only two teams he would as of right now. More than any other team, absolutely.
More than other teams, sure. But like, what if San Jose regresses? What if they hired him in the offseason and they regress? Like, man, Celebrini looks amazing. They're looking hot. They're all younger. Their whole team, like save for a few guys, should be getting better. If they took
But you
a
can
step
make that
back,
argument any team though.
In the NHL. That's why I'm saying I don't think he ever wants to be in the NHL.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't
Because
think he does, but I'm saying those are the only two teams that he maybe
University
does.
of Denver?
Yeah.
He's been there for so long. He's got that job locked up until he dies if he wants. Like he's got that locked up. He's making tons of money. He's having a great
jump
time.
Though. I think he should stay where he's at.
No,
but I'm saying if he does, those are probably the two most likely and kind of places he's like, I would want to go there because you go to you go to Edmonton, you don't win the cup in 2 years, done. Minnesota, done. Toronto, done. Rangers, Tampa,
any team in
Florida,
any team
Vegas.
in their cup window.
Yeah. So and you obviously don't really want to go to Vancouver because you don't want your first 5 years in the league to just be we suck and just getting bashed by the media. But teams like San Jose and Chicago that are young and kind of coming up, it's like that's somewhere where you could go and potentially be there for the long haul.
Yeah.
So,
I guess
but again, I don't think
wasn't
he does
directed as much to you. I guess that was more directed to like all the people who are just so because everyone's talking. Like he turned down the interview. He never interviewed for an NHL job, but everyone's talking about where's he going to go? Is he going to sign? Because they just want him to. But realistically, I think he's just got a sick fucking gig that is locked in there. So much success. He's making good money. His family's having a great time where he's at. Like he's just one of those guys that he might not be in the NHL, but he's just owning at what he's doing. And why would he rock that boat for anything short of an insane payday? Like
exactly.
I genuinely wonder if he was offered like $20 million a season by the Leafs. Like, does that change his mind, or is he just still sitting there like I can't be bought? I'm just having the time of my life. I think that's every
what
day.
It is. He can't be bought, and I think eventually if he ever does make the jump, it's got to be like the perfect job for him. Where again,
or because he wants to. If he's like, I'm fulfilled here, I want to win a Stanley Cup.
Exactly.
Like,
which again,
it'll basically
I think eventually he does make the jump because like.
Do you know how old he is?
He's young. Like he's like 36. Yeah, 36.
Oh, I was like coach young or young.
36. And again, I do think he does make the jump because that's what cements your legacy as a great coach. Like that's what cements you.
37 years old.
He could go and win.
He has to at some point.
Yeah, eventually he'll make the jump.
20 years and still have another 15-year career in the NHL. Like some of these guys are around the game for 70 years, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Should move on here though, and
yes.
Get into our last thing here before we start to wrap things up.
One other guy, just because it's really fun and we both love him around here. Joe Pavelski, another guy who has been interviewed for the Maple Leafs head coach position.
Though. He won't go there.
Doesn't sound like it. Jeff Halpern as well was also interviewed. Sounds like he's already out. But I love hearing that they're like that's a fun pick.
They're going outside the box though. They're not trying to just find the same recycled head coaches. I do like that for Toronto.
Babcock is an outside the box bad pick. Joe Pavelski, that's an outside the box fun pick. I like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Toronto's
and I love hearing that he's
in a tough spot
thinking about getting into the head coaching game. That maybe he goes somewhere else. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan Larkin submits his 3-team trade list to the Detroit Red Wings. And to no one's surprise, it is the Florida Panthers, the Vegas Golden Knights, and the Minnesota Wild. So, no, not surprising one bit. These are the 3 teams I would have picked him to submit.
Yeah, I would have guessed at least 2 of these teams, and I would have gotten all 3 if you gave me 4 or 5 guesses for sure. Like, it makes all the sense in the world that those are his 3. I don't think the Red Wings are going to feel pressured to do this right away. I don't think they're going to want to go into the next season with him on the roster. I think you'd want to avoid that, but if you're getting fleeced, you just do.
The problem is, though, is then you get into that, territory like Buffalo's in with Jack Eichel. Like, if you go into next season with Dylan Larkin, you have to strip him of the C.
Yeah. I think
Like-
I think Yzerman's the kind of guy that would. And frankly, man, would
you
that
have
speak
to.
volumes? A captain, like, I think most people have Steve Yzerman as a top 3 captain all time in the NHL.
Mhm.
Top 5 is basically a lock. I think that's relatively fair to say. Having him as the GM strip you of your captaincy, the hometown boy, that's
rough.
That's very symbolic. That's a lot.
So that's why I kind of do think you do have to move him at some point
if they can get
season
a decent deal. And I'm talking like if these teams are holding them up. Like if you're getting back Luosterainen and a second round pick, I'm going into the season with them.
That's why I'm thinking I do think he does go to Minnesota. Just because, again, if you're trading to Vegas, you're saying minimum Dorofeyev's on the table, or you're not getting him. You go to Florida and you say Lundell minimum is on the table. If you're not willing to trade him, then you're not getting him. And then you go to Minnesota and you make something work. And just by seeing this that Larkin submitted, because he knows that like there's not much that Florida can give up in Vegas, like this really shows this is just a big fuck you to Detroit as well. Like this shows that the relationship between him and management has just gotten so bad that he does not give a shit what Detroit gets back for him. He does not give a shit if it sinks the franchise of him leaving. He is focused on getting himself out. And which I do think it's kind of shitty, but at the same time, I don't fully blame Larkin because, again, he has given Detroit everything for his whole career, and they have done absolutely nothing to win. Yeah. Like, it's recycling the same kind of garbage shit there, and it's like eventually for Larkin, he's now going to be like, I'm going to be 30 going into next year. We're probably going to miss the playoffs again by 2 points, and again, part of it is on him. Like, he needs to be better, but how long can he just sit there and waste away until he's like, I got to do what's best for me, and I got to get out, and it's
one of those situations where I'm blaming everybody. I think there's plenty of blame to go around, and I've got tons. Like Steve Yzerman, he hasn't put the team around him required to make the playoffs, let alone have playoff success. This guy would kill to be on the Toronto Maple Leafs, making the first round and going out every year. At least he's getting the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, management, and especially the fans, they have a right to be pissed at him. You're our captain.
Absolutely.
You ask for a trade and you're handcuffing us like that? You dickhead. Yeah. We loved you. Like, what the hell, man? So I think both sides are completely valid in the way they're going about this. Yeah. Right off the bat, they shouldn't send him to Florida. That's in division.
Yeah. It's unless you're getting...
He's going to torch you for 4 goals a game every time he plays you until he retires. He's going to make your life hell.
That's what I'm saying. He only goes to Florida if it's like Florida's overpaying. And if Florida's not willing to, then you just say, well, then you're not getting them. And then you hang up and you move on. Honestly, even same thing with Vegas, because again, Vegas doesn't have a whole lot to give. That's why I really do think he does go to Minnesota. Because Minnesota does have the pieces you can give up for a Dylan Larkin.
I just don't think... I think because the other two teams don't have a lot of a leg to stand on in trade negotiations, I think Minnesota's going to know that, and they're going to lowball the Red Wings and try and get Larkin for cheaper than they should. And I think if that's the case, Yzerman should just sit on his hands and, okay, Larkin, well, ball's in your court. I can't get a good deal from any of these teams. Now, I'm not saying waive to go to Vancouver or something.
You got to give me more work.
Can you give me 3 more teams? What about, are you okay going to Colorado? Are you okay going to Tampa? Like Dallas? Go play with your best friend, Jamie Benn. Like, where are you comfortable playing? Mm-hmm. Like, give me a couple
absolutely,
more.
Yeah. So I do think,
I think
again,
that's likely where it goes.
Yeah.
I think he ends up expanding it to maybe 6 or 8 teams, and then a deal gets done. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if he gave a couple more teams. Minnesota ups their offer. Minnesota feels like the fit, and they have enough stuff that I think it could be a fair or close to fair deal. I think they just will need to get to that point in the negotiating where the price gets up there enough that Detroit's comfortable with it.
And that's exactly what I think. I do think Minnesota's going to lowball, and then the little bidding war will get created with some other teams, and then Minnesota will offer up more. Because again, Minnesota can part with one of their goalies.
That's the biggest
Detroit,
thing.
It could help them right now, but again, you do have Travis coming up. But getting a goalie back, and you flip them, whether it's Edmonton, maybe Ottawa.
Demand.
You know, there's numerous teams you can make that work with. So
if you get Philip Gustafson back, you could immediately package him. You could send him to Florida. Like 9th overall pick for Philip Gustafson. Florida does that in a heartbeat, right? Like you might be able to get more. Maybe not a ton more. It's a ninth overall pick.
No,
but
it would be very similar to Corey Schneider to New Jersey for the 9th overall. You know, like that's that's why I really think there's a possibility Florida
good goalie on a good contract
and it will
with
be
term.
Or maybe Minnesota just offers Gustafson to Florida for 9th overall. They get the 9th overall and they say, hey, Detroit, do you want 9th overall and something? Which I don't know if Detroit would necessarily maybe, because I think they obviously still kind of want to win now, but
they're wanting to do something sooner.
I think if you're getting the 9th overall pick for Larkin and something else on top, that's not bad actually.
The ninth overall pick, probably also a first from Minnesota, which probably be a later first, but value.
I think 9th overall on a prospect gets it done. Like, I don't think Larkin's in the range of a Robert Thomas for a trade package.
I think he's very comparable to Robert Thomas.
I think Robert Thomas holds more value, in my opinion. Younger.
I see why,
better
but
offensive
I don't...
numbers, better defensively.
Dylan Larkin's very good defensively. He's pretty good defensively. He's on the penalty kill.
No Robert Thomas, though. Like, good.
Is Robert Thomas that good defensively?
I believe so.
I don't watch a ton of St. Louis Blues games. Good for him. I think they're very close. I think they're pretty similar. I think Larkin having that Olympic experience boosts him for a lot of people, especially for like GMs and stuff. You know, they love looking at that, right? We're getting an Olympian. There's a lot of stuff there. I think the deal will get done this summer. I think it is very likely he ends up in Minnesota. It just
Minnesota's my pick. Yeah. And I do think Detroit will get a decent return. I just don't think it'll be enough of, like, it won't be a return that they're like, oh, we can use these pieces and make the playoffs next year. Like, you're going to be hurting for a year or two, but long term it could work out in your favor.
This is one trade that I've seen quite a few different people throw out there. Two disgruntled centers. One's not nearly as publicly disgruntled, but we've heard some things. What do you think of the idea? There could be picks attached, but for argument's sake, let's go 1 for 1 right now. Dylan Larkin for Nico Hischier.
Oh, if I'm Detroit, I'm doing that all day.
Do you think the Devils do it? Because Nico Hischier doesn't sound super happy. Dylan Larkin, obviously good friends with the Hughes. They got that Team USA connection. Maybe that helps get Quinn in there. You know they still want him, even if it's really unlikely. You know they want Quinn Hughes as much as they want Water.
I think New Jersey might, if it's out there that, like, if Hischier's dead set that he's not going to extend, because I think Hischier's eligible for an extension July 1st, and if he's not willing to extend, he says no, I don't want to be here anymore. Then I think they do. So I think that could be a fun little one deal, though.
Yeah, he is up for a. No, he's signed. Yeah, he's up for an extension. He's got one more year. So yeah. I mean, yeah, for a guy who's the captain, yeah, he's never really been the face of that franchise the moment Jack Hughes got drafted.
Yeah.
So
to the point where he's watching, and again, different time there now with new GM and everything. But yeah, I think if he's not set on signing there and wants out, I could see that potentially being a 1 for 1. Yeah, absolutely.
That would, Nico Hischier fits the timeline a lot better for the Red Wings. That could be a win-win trade.
Absolutely. Anything else you wanted to touch on here before we start to get into wrapping this one up here?
I think that is about it. Unless we got any new news popping up.
I just looked a couple minutes ago and I didn't see anything.
Nothing really new, but Elliot Friedman, as of 16 minutes ago, saying that the potential Babcock hiring is very ownership driven. This comes directly from the top. A lot of what has happened in Edmonton the end of the season has been right from the top. Coaching change, the pursuit of Cassidy, and this are all from the top. So it sounds like, I don't know if that means the owner or if that's more like president of hockey. But that's, geez, that sounds a lot like Vancouver, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They're making hirings that everyone's going, what the fuck? And it's coming from the top guys. Ooh.
No, they're the ones that wanted Stan Bowman. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
They've their type, that's for sure. We're now here near the end of the episode. As always, we do like to wrap things up with a fun game here. As always, right in today for you, we have another player blender. For those unfamiliar, first-time player blender. I've got 2 bios, 2 blurbs for 2 different players. They are current players actively playing in the league. And it is up to Braden and you at home to figure out who the 2 players are. And you will know when you figure it out because their 2 names will blend together as one. Pretty simple. Braden, are you ready for your first player?
I am ready.
Player number 1. Some say I might be one of the most unlucky players in the league. Despite my high-end skill, some fans still have a hard time seeing me as a top player in the game. Although I think that may have changed for some after my performance at the Olympics. That is player 1.
Okay. Let's write down
Player
a couple
2.
Cliff notes.
After spending many years for the Red Wings, I have bounced around the league a fair bit, where a couple of seasons ago I managed to have my best season playing for a Western Conference team. I then moved on to another Western team this season, where both myself and the team did not live up to the high expectations. And that is player 2.
He was a Wings player that broke out in the Western Conference and is now on a disappointing team this year.
Yeah.
All right. So right away, Wings player broke out in the Western Conference, now on a different disappointing Western Conference team. That's screaming Jake Wallman at me. I don't know how long he was with the Wings, but he was on the Red Wings, went. I still can't believe it. They paid a second rounder to send him to San Jose. What a fleecing. And he broke out huge with San Jose. Like I thought he was going to do that year with the Red Wings. His year leading up to that was great. I cannot believe they moved it. They didn't need cap space. He didn't free up a lot. I don't need to get into it. He's now on the Edmonton Oilers. Pretty disappointing end to the year, I would say. 2 Stanley Cup Finals appearances, out in the first round to the Ducks this year. Player 1. Unlucky, high. He's unlucky. He's got high-end skill, but not quite seen as a top player. But that maybe changed after the Olympics. Unlucky. I mean, you could say I think you would have said something about these playoffs if it was Marner. I'm thinking probably a Team USA player there. Can I get the full description of player 1 again?
Player 1, yeah. Some say I might be one of the most unlucky players in the league. Despite my high elite skill, some fans still have a hard time seeing me as a top player in the game. Although I think that may have changed for some after my performance at the Olympics.
I've got a thought in my head. I don't think those names go together. I'm thinking pretty good player too is Jake Wallman. I was thinking Charlie McAvoy for the first one. He went to the Olympics. He's like kind of seen as a top player, but sometimes and unlucky because he's been hit in the face a million times in the last 40 minutes by a puck.
Got 2 hints.
All right,
I'll offer.
I'll take a hint 1.
Hint. Do you want hint A or hint B?
I assume hint A will be for player A.
No, just each hint will be for both players.
Okay, yeah, let's go with hint A.
Hint A. Both these players are forwards.
Wow. Okay, so obviously both those guys are out. I definitely thought Jake Wallman not being that is interesting. Wings player left and broke out in the Western Conference and is now on a disappointing Western Conference team.
Let's also remember, have bounced around the league a fair bit.
After bouncing around, who was on the Wings for a bit and then left? All the guys I can think of, I don't even know if they're like playing anymore. I'm thinking of guys like Valtteri Filppula and fucking Shane Helm and stuff like that.
Darren Helm.
It is Darren Helm. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Shane Helm is the Hurricane. And sorry, what was the hint? The hint was just that they're both forwards.
They're both forwards, yeah.
I was already
Player
kind of
A
thinking
and
that for
player
the
B are
first
both
one,
forwards.
but obviously I had Charlie McAvoy. Unlucky. I mean, maybe seen high in skill, not seen as a top player, maybe is after the Olympics. Kind of makes me think somebody like Slavkovsky, but I don't see a way he's really unlucky. So I don't love that. Who else broke out there? I mean, Celebrini, obviously, like there's not a lot of guys that like I would really label unlucky. I mean, maybe just guys who are on a not great team.
This player had an unlucky season. But the Olympics was huge.
I see. Okay. So I'm assuming that first player is probably Jack Hughes. Busted his hand on a glass at a team dinner.
Wild.
Just crazy. I still can't believe like a week after that happened, Luosterainen was out for like a month and a half getting burns at a barbecue.
Yeah.
It was like we gotta freaking hide these guys. We gotta lock them up in their hotel rooms. Okay, so Jack Hughes is who I'm thinking there. Red Wings player forward. They broke out in the Western Conference afterwards. They bounced around a while, and now they're on a disappointing Western Conference team. Disappointing Western Conference teams. I mean, frankly, a lot of them. Like Edmonton. Colorado's season on the whole was good, but getting swept in the conference final, that was pretty disappointing. The Wild went out in 5. The Stars didn't make it out of the first round. Like, it could be on any one of those teams. Like, basically, the only teams in the Western Conference they can't really be on is Vegas, the Ducks, and Utah. Like, I feel like they had good seasons. The Sharks. Did you say that they had a disappointing playoffs or just season?
Just this season.
Okay, so they're not necessarily in the playoffs. There's a lot of disappointing teams that miss the playoffs as well. Even be a player on Vancouver. No, he's a defenseman though. And I don't know any of the. He better not be on Vancouver. I don't know a lot of forwards left on that roster. I'd be like, is it Tyler Bertuzzi? Is he still on the Blackhawks?
He's on the Blackhawks, yeah.
He's a player on. He was on the Red Wings for a while.
You're thinking of the right era of Red Wings though for the player, but it's not Bertuzzi.
Oh God, who the hell else was on those teams? Those Red Wings?
Yeah, you're missing a pretty obvious one.
Ah, shit.
Yeah. I'll give you one more minute, and then I will.
I don't think it's
ask you
Patrick
for your final answer.
Kane.
No.
Who else? I mean, DeBrincat's there now.
Yeah, this player's not on the Wings anymore.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know if that. Do I still got hint number 2?
Yeah. I don't think hint number 2 will do much for you, though.
Let's hear it. Maybe it'll jog something in there.
These players' teams missed the playoffs.
Okay, well that does help eliminate at least some, right?
So basically, what's the team that had high expectations that missed the playoffs?
Who missed the playoffs and had the expectations to probably make them?
25 seconds.
The Kings? Kings make decent sense. Oh, dude, I know so few freaking forwards on the Kings, though. They've had some turnover.
You literally you haven't mentioned this team once so far. I don't know how you just forgot about them. Oh, actually, I guess kind of makes sense, but
we're probably talking about either the Jets or we're talking about the Kraken. It's probably the Jets. That's disappointing. It's probably the Jets, which means it would be
10 seconds.
Oh, shit. I've got Nesterov's name stuck in my brain and it's not him.
3, 2, 1. I'm going to need a final answer here.
Oh, let's go with Jack Hugh Mesnikov.
Close, but no, unfortunately not.
I have no idea.
You're missing a very obvious one. Player A, you did get correct in Jack Hughes. Player B was Gustav Nyquist.
Nyquist?
So the answer would be Jack Gustav Nyquist.
Gustav Nyquist.
Gustav. He had a very good year in Nashville a couple years ago playing alongside O'Reilly and Forsberg, where I think he had 75 points.
I was going to say, I think he had 75.
Then I think he went
to the Wild and did like nothing.
And then so they let him go and then went to Winnipeg, and I think he went like 40 games until he got his first goal or something. Had a very, very
If he was the guy that Minnesota thought he would be, they might be looking to win a cup right now. Like, oh, never mind. Or at least the Jets, they have him listed as a winger. I definitely thought he was a center. Was he not?
No, winger.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Bum.
But we're at the tail end of the episode here. We do want to thank all of you for tuning in to another episode of the Stick 'em Up podcast. If you want to talk hockey, let us know your thoughts on the playoffs or anything we discussed today. You can do so through any of the socials. They are linked down below or over on YouTube as well. Braden, we are going to get this episode out right away here for our lovely fans so they can listen to it before Game 4 takes place tonight. But before we can do that, as always, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. If you got both those players, Jack Hughes and Gustav Nyquist, in the game at the end there, let us know in the comments. And yeah, if you got all the way through this, thanks for watching. And if you had time to listen to us talk about this today, make sure you also go check out Game 4 tonight, or whichever next game, if you're hearing this a day later or something, because this series has been so good. I cannot recommend it enough. This has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
It's got to be stressful as hell for Canes and Knights fans, but for everyone else, we are absolutely feasting right now. Some phenomenal hockey.
It absolutely has been incredible. But that is it for this episode. One final time, we want to thank all of you for tuning in. And as always, we will see all of you out on the ice later this week.